After joining the war and attacking Israel, are the Houthis now preparing to hit Arab countries next, opening a terrifying new front that could drag the entire region into deeper chaos and instability? Are Arabs headed for doom as the Houthis send a chilling ultimatum to US allies, warning that any support for Israel or Washington could soon invite devastating retaliation on their own soil? Is Trump's promise to keep Arabs safe about to be broken soon, as the expanding Houthi threat exposes how vulnerable US-aligned governments really are despite years of military guarantees?
And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form.
The Houthis are reportedly planning a new Hormuz-like blockade on a key waterway, a move that could strangle global trade, spike energy prices, and put immense pressure on Arab economies already on edge. Has the Arab secret appeal to the US to destroy Iran disastrously backfired, provoking Tehran's allies like the Houthis to unleash a wave of attacks that now threaten the very states that sought protection? After jumping into the war and attacking Israel, the Yemeni Houthis have now sent a stark warning to the Arabs, signaling that any deeper involvement in the conflict could trigger serious and potentially region-wide consequences. A senior Houthi official has warned that the group could close the Bab el Mandeb Strait, effectively turning one of the world's most critical maritime choke points into a bargaining chip in their escalating confrontation with US allies. The Bab el Mandeb could be shut if Arab states directly join US-Israeli strikes on Iran, the Houthis have threatened, raising fears of a major disruption to global shipping routes and oil supplies that pass through the narrow waterway. The threat was issued by the Houthi Deputy Information Minister in an interview with Monitor, according to a report by the Times of Israel on April 1st, adding fresh urgency to concerns about how quickly this conflict could spiral beyond control. The senior Houthi official said, quote, "We bear a religious, moral, and humanitarian responsibility that precludes us from standing idly by. The option of closing the Bab el Mandeb Strait is a Yemeni option that can be implemented should the aggression against Iran and Lebanon escalate savagely, or if any Gulf state becomes directly involved in military operations in support of a Zionist entity or the United States," unquote. The Houthi threat came after reports that Arab states were pushing the US to continue the war, suggesting that their behind-the-scenes lobbying may have triggered a dangerous backlash they did not fully anticipate. US Gulf allies, led by Saudi Arabia and the UAE, are reportedly urging Trump to demolish Iran's leadership, a hardline stance that raises the stakes dramatically and risks dragging the region into a far wider confrontation. The Middle East leaders argue that Tehran has not been weakened enough, according to PBS, insisting that only sustained military pressure can curb Iran's influence and reshape the regional balance of power in their favor. Meanwhile, Trump said on April 1st that the US will not allow its Arab allies to suffer amid the war, vowing continued support and protection even as critics warn his strategy could expose them to even greater retaliation.
And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. This short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to decades of extortion, economic pain, and instability worse than we can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared economically to confront this threat. You all know that. We built the strongest economy in history. We're going through it right now, the strongest in history. In 1 year, we've taken a dead and crippled country. I hate to say that, but we were a dead and crippled country after the last administration and made it the hottest country anywhere in the world by far, with no inflation, record-setting investments coming into the United States, over $18 trillion, and the highest stock market ever, with 53 all-time record highs in just 1 year. It all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that has long simmered. It's known as the nuclear Iran, and they didn't know what was coming. They've never imagined it. Remember, because of our drill baby drill program, America has plenty of gas. We have so much gas. Under my leadership, we are #1 producer of oil and gas on the planet without even discussing the millions of barrels that we're getting from Venezuela. Because of the Trump administration's policies, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Think of that, Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. And that number will soon be substantially higher than that. There's no country like us anywhere in the world, and we're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it.
Israel early on April 1st witnessed fresh missile and drone attacks linked to Lebanon and Yemen, as new cross-border fire hit during the wider Iran war. Iran-backed groups Hezbollah and the Houthis were reported to have launched fresh salvos, expanding pressure on Israel from multiple fronts at once. The Times of Israel reported the new attacks and said sirens were heard in various towns and cities, including border communities in the north and areas in the south targeted from Yemen. The IDF claimed it intercepted a ballistic missile fired from Yemen by the Houthis, according to reports on the latest escalation against southern Israel. The missile was aimed at southern Israel, an area that has come under repeated attack since the Houthis entered the Iran war last week. No injuries were reported, but sirens were activated in Beersheba and across southern Israel as the missile threat triggered fresh alerts. The Yemeni Houthis have now fired several missiles at Israel after joining the Iran war, opening another active front in the regional conflict.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.